Hello all, in this particular tutorial we will learn how to perform user managed backup and restore, and this particular backup is done without RMAN. We will learn how to perform the cold backup and restore as well as hot backup and restore. Oracle database allows you to take backup of the database without RMAN. These backups are called as user managed backups. User managed backups are mostly performed using scripts developed by DBA. User managed backups information does not get updated or stored in control file. Let me repeat this, that whenever you take the user managed backup, the information about that backup does not get updated or stored in control file. User managed backups are further divided into cold backup and hot backup. Let's understand the difference between cold backup and hot backup. Cold backup can be taken in archive log or no archive log mode. It is also called as consistent backup. Database needs to be shut down. Hot backup can be taken in archive log mode only. It is a non-consistent backup and the database can be up while performing the hot backup. This tutorial is done on Oracle 90C running on Linux 8. Stop before you proceed. RMAN is preferred tool to perform Oracle backup. User managed backup should be carefully designed and tested. If you have a good strategy of user managed backups, then only perform the user managed backup because they should be carefully designed and tested. Let's understand how to perform the cold backup. To perform the cold backup, get a list of all files that needs to be backed up, such as all the data files, control file, redo logs, and the parameter file. Remember, we are not copying the temp file. We don't have to copy the temp file. We are only copying all the data files, control files, redo logs, and the parameter file. To perform the cold backup, your database needs to be shut down. So shut down your database and using the operating system commands, copy data file, control file, and redo log, parameter file, and the password file. Cold backup can be taken in archive log and no archive log mode. So cold backup can be performed in any of these two modes. Let's understand the backup in detail. So to perform the cold backup, shut down your database, shut immediate. Then once the database is shut down, copy the data files. So these are the data files that we will be copying to the backup location. Control file copy. You need to copy only one control file. You don't have to copy both. No harm in copying both of the, but ideally you just need one control file. Copy all the redo logs. So copy all the redo logs to the backup location. Also copy the parameter file and password file. So the parameter file, you just need to copy either the init parameter file or SP file based on what your database is using. You don't have to copy both. And the password file from the Oracle Home DBS to the backup location. Once the backup is completed, start your database. Now, let's understand how to perform the restore using cold backup. So first, identify where are all the data files, control file, redo logs, and the parameter file is stored. This is why you need this particular information because from the backup location, you will replace all of these original files. So before proceeding to restore, shut down your database. Using the OS command, copy data file, control file, redo logs, parameter file, and password file from backup to original location. So from the backup to original location, the location which is listed by this particular queries, you copy all of these files back and then you start your database using the startup. So this is how you perform restore. Remember, to perform the database restore using the cold backup, your database needs to be shut down. Now, let's understand how to perform the hot backup. The hot backup can be done at the three different levels. One, you can do it at the entire database level, or you can do it at a single tablespace level, or you can do it at a group of tablespaces or multiple tablespaces. Let's see all of these options. So this is the first option at the database level. So before you take the database level backup, first select the name. So get the list of all the data files. Also get the list of your parameter file where it is stored. Once you know the names of data file and the parameter file, place your database in the begin backup mode. Using the OS command, copy the data file, parameter file, and password file to the backup location. Once you have copied the data file, parameter file, and password file, and the backup mode using alter database and backup, remember to archive the current log file and copy the archive log file. So alter system archive log current. So archive the current log file and copy using the VRoller archive logs, copy all the archive log generated to the backup location as well as backup the control file. We will be taking the backup of control file in two different ways. One is we'll be taking the backup of control file. So alter database backup control file to the name of the backup, and also alter database backup control file to trace as the name of the backup. Remember one thing, this is the actual control file backup. This is the trace file which can be used to recreate your control file. One point that I want to highlight, irrespective of whether you take the backup at the database level or at the table space level or multiple table spaces, you have to still archive the current log file and backup your control file. So every time you take the backup in the hot mode, remember to archive the current log file and copy the archive logs and backup control file. Let's see that in detail. So this is at the database level where we placed all the database in the begin backup mode and we copy and add all the data files. Now let's understand how to take a particular table space. So here I'm giving the example of users table space. First, we will retrieve the name of the data files from the DBA data files which are related to users table space. So once we have got the list, we will place that particular table space in the backup mode. So alter table space users begin backup. Then using the operating system command, copy the data files related to only that particular table space. Once that is done, you will end the backup mode using alter table space users and backup. Now, once you have done this, as I mentioned in the previous slide, remember to archive the current log and copy all the archive logs as well as backup your control file. So irrespective of how you take your hot backup, remember to archive the current log and backup the control file. So now let's see how to take the backup at a multiple table space. So here we placed only one table space and then we took the backup. So you have to repeat this for all the table spaces. So what we can do, we can group the table spaces. So here we are placing two table spaces in the backup mode. Then we will copy the data files related to both the table spaces. And then once we have copied the data files, again, we will end the backup. Remember, again, as I mentioned, archive the log files and copy the archive log, archive the current log, and also backup the control file. Let's see this in detail. So data file copy, let's understand how to take the entire hot backup of the entire database. So these are the data files. So we will copy all the data files to the hot backup location. We will archive the log file and we will copy the archive logs. Here, if you see, I'm giving the star, which means all the archive logs which are present in this particular directory, I'm copying to the hot backup location. We will backup the control file in two different ways. One is the alter database backup control file to the name location and the name of the control file backup, and alter database backup control file to trace again the location and the name. The difference between this is the actual control file backup. This is the commands. This will be an SQL file which you can open and recreate the control file if required. Again, you will copy the parameter file and password file. You don't have to copy both init file and SP file. Based on whether your database is using init file or SP file, you will only copy one. And also remember to backup your Aura password file. Now, here is the note. So if you wanted to, so here, this particular slide only talks about how to take the hot backup at the database level. Let's say you wanted to take a hot backup at the table space level. All the steps will remain exactly same. However, you will only copy the data files of the table space that you have placed in the begin backup mode. So exactly same. Only difference is instead of copying all the data files, you will copy the data file only for that particular table space which you have placed in the begin backup mode. So that is the reason why I will not show this slide for how to take the backup, hot backup at the table space level, because all the commands remain except same. Here you will only copy the data file related to the table space that you have placed in the begin backup mode. Now, Let's understand how to restore using the hot backup. So we are going to restore a particular table space. So let's say somebody deleted users table space. So to do that, what we will do is, like, if you want to restore this particular data file, first we will place that data file in the offline mode. So we'll place that particular data file in the offline mode. Then from the backup location, we will copy it to the original database directory. If you don't know the number of that particular data file, you can use select files number from VW data file where name is equal to. So you can use this particular query, and then you can use the recover data file is equal to. You can use the recover data file, that number what you get, that number you will use, and you will then finally you will open the data file. So alter database data file online. Remember one thing, that when you delete the data file and when you try to perform any operation, if that particular data file is not there, that particular operation will fail. The database will give you the number. If you want to identify that particular data file number, there are multiple options. You can use the DBA data file, you can use the alert log, etc, etc. Now, one thing that I want to highlight, before you initiate the recover command, copy all archive log backups to the original archival destination. If you don't do this, this is optional. If you don't do this, when you do the recover, you'll have to specify the archive redo logs during the recover. So you have to manually specify those archive redo logs. Both is fine. Either you can specify manually, or if you keep it in the original location, it will automatically pick up those because it knows where it has archived. So let's repeat. If a particular table space is a data file is lost, first place that data file in the offline mode, copy the data file from the backup location to the original directory, recover that particular data file, open that particular data file. Now let's understand, if all the data files are lost, then we have to start our database in the mount mode. This we can do when the database is in the read-write mode. We don't have to place it in the mount mode. So when the instance is completely open, we can do this. But if all the data files are lost, or if you want to restore a system table space, then you have to start your database in the mount mode. So then what we will do, we will copy all the data files to the original location using the operating system command. Then we'll say recover database, and then we will say alter database open. So remember one thing, if the critical data table spaces are lost, such as system table space, then our database should be in the mount mode. Now, let me repeat. Copy all the archive log backups to original archive destination. Optional, not mandatory. If you don't do this, then the recover database, when you run the recover database, you have to specify all the archive logs, because it will start looking for those missing archive logs. Now, if you want to restore using the hot backup where the control file and data files are lost, then again your database should be in the mount mode, since we are restoring using backup control file. And copy all archive logs, again optional, but it helps. So before starting here, I messed up. So first we need to copy the control file to original location. So copy the control file to original location, then you mount the database, copy control file to original location, mount the database, then copy all the data files to original location, then recover database using backup control file until cancel, and then open the database in the reset logs mode. So recover database using backup control file until cancel if control file and control file is lost. Now let us begin the labs. So let's do the labs one by one. So the first lab that we will be doing is the cold backup. So let's set the environmental variable. That's done. Before we take the cold backup, we need to know where is our data file, where is our control file, where is our log file, and where is our parameter file. So let's connect to the database. Let's run all of these queries. So this is the data file, these are the control file, these are the redo logs, and this is the parameter file. Now, as I mentioned, the cold backup has to be performed when the database is shut down. So let's shut down our database. So let's give it a few seconds for the database to be shut down. Give it a seconds. We should be there. That's good. Let's exit. And that's done. So now before we take the backup, let's create the directory for the cold backup. So let's create the directory. Let's go to that particular directory. It should be completely empty because we just created it. But let's verify. Yes, it is empty. Copy the data files, control files, redo logs, and also the parameter file and the password file. So let's copy all of that to the directory, the cold backup directory. So instead of doing it one by one, I'm going to copy everything together. So that will save your time. So instead of doing this, let's open another session and let's hit enter. And let's go back to the original session and ls minus l, and that looks good. The control file, the password file, the redo logs, the parameter file, and the data file. So the backup is completed. Let's close this. That's done. So now what we'll do, if for some reason, let's open the database. So after taking the backup, let's open the database. So give it a few seconds. Database mounted, database open. So now someone by mistake or some mistake happened. So whatever happened, so somebody deleted a table or anything like that. So what we will do, we will remove, we'll go to that particular directory where our data files is etc. is there. So let's go to that particular directory and let's say rm star. So we have lost everything. So we lost the control file, we lost the data files, we lost the redo logs. So let's understand. So I'm not going to show you how to restore the SB file or a password file. It's pretty simple. You just have to copy those files into that location. So now let's go to the original location and let's try to do the shut immediate. We will not be able to shut down our database. So let me show it to you. So let's try to do the shut immediate. It will fail. And that the reason is there is no control file, data file, etc. So this particular command is literally going to fail. Give it a few seconds. And actually what happened? Instance crashed. Let's verify that really the instance crashed. So let me clear the screen. ps-ef grep for premon. And you will see that there is no pmon process, which means the instance crashed. So how to recover from this? Simply what you do, you copy everything from the cold backup to the original location. So let's go to the original location. Let me clear this. Let me say pwd. Let me say ls minus l. Let me go to the backup cold backup location star and copying everything to the original location. Now there will be two files that we are not interested. They should not be here. One is the aura password file, which I will remove, and the sp file, which I will remove. So now if you take a look at this original location, ls minus l, we got the control file, redo logs, data files. Let's start our database and our database will come up normally fine. So we should be able to bring up our database and it will come normally fine. So let's verify that. And let me run this command as well while the database is starting. Give it a few seconds for it to come online. So database, first it will go in, and that looks good. So here we got, when I deleted everything, end of file communication, the instance crashed. So we successfully restored the database from the cold backup. All that we did is we copied everything back to the original directories. And then we started our database. So this is how you restore from the cold backup. Now let's understand hot backup. So what is a hot backup? Hot backup is performed when the database is completely up and running. So now at this moment, this particular database is completely running. So as I can show it to you. So ps-ef, you can see the database is completely up and running. Or what I can run is I can run this particular query, select name from $, open mode, and you can see our database is completely up and running. So what we will do, we will do the hot backup. To perform the hot backup, what we need to do is there are multiple options, but I'll show you only one option, and that is about how to place entire database. So before we perform the hot backup, we need to know where are our data files, because we are going to copy the data files and we are also going to copy the parameter file. So we'll capture that particular information. So that's done. Now what we'll do, we will place our database in the backup mode. So before I do that, let me do something. I'll create the directory for my backup. because my backup hot backup will fail. So I need to create the directory. So let me do this clear make directory hot backup. Let's go to that particular directory. It should be completely empty. As I just created it, definitely it will be empty, but let's verify. Yes, it is completely empty. Now let's go back to the original location. Let's place our database in the backup mode. So first thing that we are going to do, place our database in the backup mode. Then we will copy all the data files to the hot backup directory. So the 4 data files. That's done. Let's verify that we copied the data files. Yes, we copied the data file. Let's end the backup mode. That's done. We will also we have to copy the we have to archive the log current. Remember, pretty important, every time you place the database in the backup mode, after ending the backup mode, archive the log current. Very, very important. And also copy. So using the $V archive log, whatever archive logs you get, copy those archive backups as well. So let's verify what we got. So we got one archive log. So let's say host copy star. I'm going to give star. So that's done. Verify that archive logs. Yes, we took the archive log backup. Now, another thing that we need to do is we need to take the backup of control file. So alter database backup control file to location and the name of the backup. This is actual control file backup, and control file to trace, which is the recreate statement. So let's do that. Let's take both of the backup. Before I do that, let's clear the screen. And instead of firing both the commands together, let me take one by one. So let's do this. That's done. And let's do. So I've taken alter database backup control file and backup control file to trace. So we have taken. Let's verify that as well here in the backup directory, and we can see we got the control file backup and we got the control file dump. So this is actual control file backup, and this is if I show you head, this will be the create. You can see. Let me actually do vi, so you will be able to see that this is actually a create control file statement. So this you can see this is a normal SQL plus, this is the create control file. So if your control file is lost in any condition and you want to recreate the control file, then you can use this particular file. So now that we have taken all the backups, only thing that is pending is your parameter file. So we took the data file backup, we took the archive log backup, we took the control file backup. Now we have only thing that we have not done is we have to take the backup of our parameter file and the password file. Now, instead of, doing that in the same session, let me open another session, because what I need to do, I need to go to this Oracle home directory. But before I go to the Oracle home DBS, I need to set the environmental variable. So let's do that. That's done. Let me clear the screen. Let's go to that particular directory, and I'll be copying only 2 files, the Aura password file and the parameter file. So let's copy both of the files to the backup location. That's done. Verify that we got everything in the backup directory. So ls-l, we got the Aura password and SP file. So the hot backup is at this moment completed. So we have successfully completed the hot backup. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to delete the user's table space. So we are going to, first lab, we are only going to see how to recover the single table space from the hot backup. So what we will do, we will just remove one of the data files. Let's do that. So let me go to that directory. So let me go to the directory where the data file, user's data file is stored. So let me go to that particular directory. Let me clear the screen. Let me actually make it slightly bigger. And ls-l, we got this data file. Remove this particular data file. That's done. ls-l, we don't have the user's data file. Now the database is completely up and running. If you want to verify, you can verify using select name, open mode. So I'll do one thing. I'll not lose my sequence. So let's keep it here. And what we'll do, I'll say select open mode. So while the database is completely up, we actually deleted the user's data file. Now what we will do, we will try to create a table in the table space for which we have deleted the data file. Let me repeat. So we'll try to create a table in the table space for which we have deleted the data file. Let's see what happens. So what the command that I'm going to run is create table test table space users as select star from DBA table. So let's run this particular query in our SQL Plus. And you can see error in opening database file 7. So literally and that's a data file that we deleted, users we deleted, and here you can see rm users01.dbf. So it's complaining that it cannot open that data file. That's correct, and that is actually data file 7. We will use this number while we actually recover this data file. So remember to use this number. So now what we need to do to while the database is open, and we are going to we don't have to shut down or anything like that, because this is a non-critical table space. This is a users table space, so we don't have to. So what are the steps that I'm going to follow? The steps are actually I'm going to place this data file in the offline mode. So the first thing that I'll do, alter database data file. So this is the data file that it is complaining. So this particular data file here, I'm giving exactly same data file and I'm saying offline. So that is the first command that I'm going to do. And actually it lost the connection. So basically that's fine. So the database actually, you can see the database actually crashed. So when one of the data file is lost, the database crashed. So the database actually, so here, whatever I wanted to show you, slightly different process we need to follow now. So if I try to start up the database, it will not come online, and I'm going to show it to you. So if I do the startup, it's not going to come online because it's going to say missing data file. So it's not going to come online. Give it a few seconds. So you can see cannot identify or lock data file. So it cannot come online. So what we are going to do now is before I mount the database, first thing we are going to say is we are going to bring that data file to offline state. So that's done. Now what we are going to do, we are going to say alter database open. So we are stuck in the mount mode. So we will open the database. Now our database will not crash. It will stay in the open mode, in the read write mode, because before bringing up the instance, we said that data file, we brought it to offline state. So now what we'll do, so now we have placed this in the offline mode. What we will do, we will say recover data file 7. So we'll say recover data file 7. Now, before recover data file 7, I missed one step. We should copy the data file back to the original data directory. So here, that is something that I missed. So let's do that. That's done. Verify that I copied the data file. So that's why the recover command failed. So you can see I copied the data file back. So now if I go back to the original directory, and if I say recover data file 7, media recovery complete, that looks good. And now what I'll do, I will bring that table space to online. That's done. And remember the command that failed, and I think we lost that particular command. But this particular command, when we tried to create a table in that particular data file, we lost that. We could not create it because that data file was offline, and that's when we came to know. So let's try exactly same statement now, and you can see the table is created, which means we have successfully recovered our data file from our hot backup, and we were able to create that. So the steps that we followed is I had to do something else. So basically I had to put the database in the mount mode, then open the database, etc., because our database actually crashed when that particular data file was deleted. But in the steps that we followed, we placed the data file offline, we copied the data file, then we recovered the data file, and then we brought the data file online, and then we were able to create the table in that particular table space. So that looks good. So now we will understand if for some reason we deleted the control files and the data files. So let's do something. Let's go to that particular directory. Before I do that, I'm not going to take again the backup, because you see that I have already taken the backup here. So I'm going to use exactly same backup. So I'm not going to create another backup. So you can see that, let me clear this screen. This is my hot backup directory. And under this hot backup directory, I got, I got the control file backup. I got the archive log backup. I got the this one. I got the users. But remember that this particular users table data file backup is before I actually restored. So this is old backup, but I'm not going to take another backup. It's going to just take my time. So if I have to do, I have to place all the data files, etc., in the mount mode. So not mount mode, I have to place the database in the begin backup mode, etc., which is going to waste my time. So I'm not going to do that. Only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to archive the log current. So I'm going to archive the log current, and I'm going to take the backup of the additional archive logs generated. Now, the I'm going to be lazy here. So you can see 3 archive logs generated. So I'm going to copy star again. Actually I can skip this because it's already copied, but I'm going to be lazy, and I'm going to copy all the archive log backups to the backup location. Let's verify that we have taken all the archive logs, and you can see we got this second and third. So we got second and third. So we got 1, 2, 3, 3 archive logs. We got all 3 archive logs. So that's the only thing that I have done. Now what we will do, let's go back to the database directory. Let's clear the screen. Let's say this is the database directory, ls-l, remove the control file, remove all the data files. Let's verify, and we got only the redo logs. I have deleted all the control files. I have deleted the data files. Now let's go to the database. The database instance should crash immediately. It should crash if it has not already crashed. Like in the previous section where when I was trying to restore the data file, it actually crashed. In this case also, it will crash. Sooner or later it will crash, but I don't have the patience. So let me try shut immediate, which is a normal shutdown, and it's going to fail. This is not going to, and it's going to crash the instance. So you can see end of file. Basically, the instance crashed. If you want to see the proof that instance really crashed, ps-ef grep pmon, and you can see our instance crashed. That's not good. So what we are going to do, we are going to now recover our control file as well as the data files. So to do that, what I need to do, again to the original data directory, I'm going to copy the backup of the control file. So the backup of the control file, and I'm going to copy all the data files. So the backup of control file and all the data files. So let's do that. So let me show it to you, this directory first. So let me clear this. This is the original database directory. And from the hot backup, I'm going to copy. So from the hot backup, I'm going to copy the control file as control01 and control02. So let's do that. Let's copy this. That's first control file. Let's copy the second control file. That's done, and copy all the data files to that location. That's done. So now if I do ls-l, we got both the control files, we got all the data files. Let's try to start our instance. In reality, if I try to start, it will say it needs to recover the control file, and that is the reason why I'm not going to waste my time. So what we'll do, we will say startup mount. So first thing that we do, we need to start our instance in the mount mode. Let's wait for the instance to get started in the mount mode. Once the instance is started in the mount mode, so database mounted. So let's clear this. The first thing that we will do, we will say recover database using backup control file until cancel. So recover database using backup control file until cancel. So let's run this. So it's looking for this sequence 10. Let's see if this particular sequence is in the archive log. So let's say auto, and then it says unable to open. So it's looking for archive log 13. In reality, there is no archive log 13. There is only archive log 12. So it's looking for this. So probably it is in the one of the redo logs, because it's looking for the next archive log. So it's looking for one of the redo logs. So let's do something. Let's clear this particular screen, and let's run exactly same command once again. So we will run exactly same command once again, and let's see what it says. And it's looking for this sequence number 13. So it's looking for this sequence number 13. So what we will do, we will take this sequence number 13 and we will put this here. So we don't need this query. So let's take this query. Let's remove this particular query. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to find out in which member or the log file, redo log file, that sequence number is present. So in which redo log file or which member that sequence number. So the sequence number that is needed is 13, and using this one. So the sequence number is present in the log group. It is not present in the log file. So I'm joining the log. So what I'm saying is like, give me the name of the redo log file, the redo log member where sequence number 13 is present. So let me take this particular query, and let me, instead of running that particular query in this session, let me open one more session, and let's say SQL plus. Before doing that, actually, I always forget. We have to set the environmental variable. So let's say aura env. That's done. SQL plus as sysdba, and let's run that particular query. So it says it looks like that it is looking for that sequence number 13, which is not present in any of our redo logs files. Let's try to see. Actually, we tried auto, so it did not look for, it is looking for missing. So it looks like we will say at this moment, we'll say cancel, enter, and then what we'll do, we will say alter database, open reset logs, and that looks good. Let's just verify that whether our database open in the read write mode, and that looks good. So looks like we have been able to, but what we will do, we will, for safety, we will just say shut down and start up, just to verify that everything is looking good. So that is our final step. So give it a few seconds. So what I have done is like I have fired both the commands in sequence. So it's first is going to shut down the instance and then followed by startup. Now why am I doing this is because I have recovered entire the control file, data file, etc. I just want to do a clean shutdown and startup once the recovery is complete, just to verify that all the data file, control file, and that looks good is good. So I just wanted to verify, and let's verify, and our database is in the read write mode. So that looks good. So we have been able to successfully recover our database using the backup control file. And what I wanted to show you is like we have now, we should have everything back. So you can see we got temp file, all the data files, control files. So everything is back there. So that looks good. So what we learned today is we learned the cold backup, how to recover from the cold backup, hot backup, how to recover a particular table space from the hot backup, how to recover the control file as well as the data files from the hot backup. And this is the concept of user managed backup and restore. And again, thank you for watching. See you in next tutorial. If you do like the videos that I'm uploading to my channel, do hit the like button, and thank you for watching, and do subscribe to my channel. See you in next tutorial. Till then, bye bye.